Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are all doing well, wherever you happen to be in the world, and whatever time it is. I have some interesting topics. I tend to do various topics. I don't like just choosing one thing. And so I'm going to play this video, and what's his name? Yishai Fleischer, maybe you've seen him before. I want to express a feeling I have, towards a lot of stuff that's going on that is anti-Israel, the protest. And I know this doesn't speak for everyone, it's just what you see on TV or small groups, right? But they do polls and they do all those things. And before I play this video, I want to express myself in terms of how I feel about this situation, how I feel about people talking about the Jews and different things. I spent years of my time watching documentaries and reading about World War II and what happened to the Jews and the Christians and also the Chinese. Remember, a lot more Chinese died than Jews and Christians. 13 million of them, in case you didn't know, by Japan. But, everyone's going to take the position that, no, I'm right. I know what I'm talking about. And I don't want to, appear as that. But as far as scripture goes, and history, what I was just saying, the world is hating the Jews openly, and I cannot ignore it, and I think it's completely unwarranted. It's the people behind it and the propaganda who are pushing this. There is a war, but they're justified in their war. This will say something. You just wait and watch and see this. I am defending the Jews. I do think they're a peaceful people. No, they don't believe in Jesus Christ, but there are some who do. That doesn't make them our enemy. And I know you're going to say, whoever isn't for me is against me. Man, have a heart. I had to do a lot of searching in my soul. One of the reasons, okay, I'm going to take an example here. Law of liberty. I love the pastor's preaching, okay? But I started to see what appeared as a very big bias. Jews, no, I don't know, man, a lot of different stuff. And, they're talking about the Talmud and I understand these things there is evil inside of it, but I don't think the world is evil. Pastor Adam Fannin, and I put in the comments, I love you as my brother. I put in the comments, well, what about Zechariah 12 and 12, 13, 14? I put it in a number of times, but it was never answered. And I think that's because you don't want to talk about the fact that God is going to have compassion on the Jews. Oh, those are not the real Jews. Then who are they? I don't think Isaiah 66 is about a nation being born in one day as far as Israel. I think that's about something else, and I've done another video on that, but they were brought back to the land. You can't ignore that. The impossible battles that they won, I studied them. Wow, have you ever looked at them and read them? You'd wonder how any one of them survived. Even if they were given weapons by the states, the other ones were given weapons by the Russians. I don't have hate for them, and I've had to go deep in my heart because I started to go the way of oh, they're the evil Jews who don't believe in Jesus Christ. This is God's land, and God is going to have compassion on these people. But you have to understand that 2/3 of them are going to die. And it makes me wonder in my heart, who are these ones who are going to be saved through the fire? Maybe this man right here, because he's dedicated. I'm not saying he's going the right way, because he's not. But what he's bringing up here is, and that's what I wanted to express. And I just wanted to say about law of liberty, whether they ever see this or not, and you share it with them, the way that you're approaching your topics about the Jews are going to get them killed. You're going to get them killed. Look at the time we're in. You know, it's like 6 million of them died. So, you do a lot of videos about them. And the topics are, you know, they're right to do, but just the way that... No, I'm not saying it's altogether right. Obviously not. With the thumbnails and stuff, that creates Jew hatred. And I do not hate the Jews. They're a peaceful people, and it's God's land. But someone's going to say, a Jew is one that is one inwardly, and that is the truth. But you're going to have to face a fact sooner or later when you read the book of Zechariah. You're going to see he has compassion on the Jews. Prayer and supplication, he's going to pour compassion on them. On the house of David. They will be like David and they will be like God. Judea. So I don't think it's wise to make enemies of that. And I think that's what all I wanted to say about that. But it was Zechariah that really turned my heart. I just want to go the right way. That's it. I just want to go the right way. So let's listen to what he has to say, because everything he's... You know, I started to listen to this, and let's just listen to what he says.
In New York City, the British government has just announced that they're going to be boycotting ministers of the Israeli government. Minister Ben-Gvir and Minister Smotrich, that's the Minister of National Security and Minister of Finance, they're going to be boycotting them. Why? Because they don't like the things that these men have said. They have said that Jewish people have rights in Judea and Samaria. They have said that we should help refugees leave Gaza. And they have said that we should not send in food supplies that end up in the hands of the Hamas. Now, the thing is that these suggestions are normal suggestions, okay? And they're certainly part of democratic discourse. These suggestions, especially the one about refugees, are so sensical that the world has used them in every other conflict. Millions of Ukrainians fled into neighboring countries like Poland in order to get away from the war that's happening between Russia and Ukraine.
True.
Millions of Syrians moved out of Syria when there was the Syrian civil war into Turkey and neighboring countries so that they...
And we know what happened with that. It put a seed in Europe, did it not? And look what's happening now.
Could flee that conflict and war. Also, a lot of them made it into Europe as well. So that's the most normal thing in the world. You have an armed conflict, you have refugees, non-combatants, they need to go somewhere. But England and the other countries have done nothing to help those refugees. Quite the opposite. What they want to do is they want to keep them stuck inside of Gaza so that they could die and be human shields and also a cudgel against Israel. The truth of the matter is that today's announcement is nothing but the British and those other countries succumb.
So, this is true. The Palestinians are used as a political pawn. That's pretty bad. what about Egypt? What about Jordan? What about, I know there's a lot of Palestinians in Jordan, but where's the heart, man? Where's the heart to help? And I get it, you know, someone will say, you know, why don't you take them, Israel? You're the one who's bombing them. You figure it out. And maybe they should figure it out, right? Maybe they should. Maybe it should be their responsibility to find them a place that's safe and not put it on another country. I'm not playing anyone's side here. I'm just trying to play the truth. And I believe when this is my spiritual belief. Look at Canada. They're on fire, man. I live in Canada. The smoke is going all over North America. I can't help but think it's God. Happened in 2023 too. Canada mentioned that they want to split Palestine. And it's, man, you take a look at our world is ending. That's a good sign. That means that what Jesus Christ said was true. Tower of Babel is coming. This is what they're trying to do. There's a lot of evil in our world. Anyways, let's keep listening.
Coming to the jihadist narrative. The only reason that they've done it, actually, is two reasons. There's two reasons.
I'm going to say this very quickly because it's very important. Excuse me. Think of what Iran did, okay? This is what they want you to do. They want you to forget what was happening before October 7th. The Abraham Accords were about to be together, signed, right? I believe the Abraham Accords is probably Daniel 9:27. I can't help but think anything but. And what did Iran do when they found out that Saudi Arabia was making good ties with Israel, like finalizing some good ties? October 7th happened, and Israel has every reason to defend itself, but Iran is winning the propaganda war. And look at all the countries around the world that are demonstrating against Israel. And you look at the other wars, Sudan, which has triple the amount of death. And I do believe Israel, I know that when they do bomb, they have no choice. How are you going to take out a terrorist when they use human shields? What do you want them to do? Go on the ground? Then they'll die. A lot more people will die of their own soldiers. They're in a dilemma. And so they limit their deaths with the types of bombing they do. They give leaflets, okay? They do that. They are giving them food. Let's keep listening.
Why they may have done it. I call it either bullied or bought. You're bullied or bought or both. Bullied, bought, or both. Let's call it that. Three options. Bullied, bought, or both, okay? Bullied means that your streets have become full of jihadists and your voters are jihadists, and so therefore you just got to succumb to them or else they're going to beat you up and take over your country. So maybe you think that if you surrender to them and give in to their policy ideas, you'll survive. You won't. The other option, which is no less tangible, is being bought. You know, the Qataris, the Iranians, and others, they know how to buy politicians. They know how to get influence with politicians. So it's either bought, bullied, or probably both. A little bit of both. You're like, here's some money, or else you're going to get killed, or else we're going to take over your streets. Just do what we say. And that's where the British, some of the British voters have gone as well. Very sad day. But of course, Israel will continue to push back. And these ministers will continue to serve as ministers. And the government of Israel needs to do what it has to do in order to survive. And what it has to do is to continue to fight this war. It's got to fight it fast and aggressively, with rage and with clarity. It's got to starve out the jihadis, but it's got to...
Okay, I'll just stop there, to be honest, and I have more to play. I have another thing. Even if you beat Hamas, which, by the way, they could easily carpet bomb. They could. They could carpet bomb if they want to get rid of this problem, but you can't do that. You can't do that type of thing. what's happened is the immigration of all the Western countries, that's what's happening. That's what all the protests. And you don't know who's behind. It doesn't take a lot of money to pay people to do something. So there are people, you know who those people are. What do you think George Soros could do with $10 million in 1 week? Man, these people don't care if they get arrested, and there's a lot of different things that they're willing to do for certain prices. So let's move on to the next thing. I'm not going to play all of this, but I urge you to watch this. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, Elon Musk is likely the false prophet. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. It's right in your faces, and so many people are blind, it's unfortunate. Elon Musk, his Neuralink in Greek gematria equals 666. I don't find that to be a coincidence. And it's even a further coincidence, right? What are the biblical chances of it being something like Neuralink? Just think of those chances. Of any one thing that would be the mark of the beast, that would be the most powerful of them all, would it not be? So why does it equal 666? You can control, just with thoughts, you can make things turn on, and you know that big thing like the Apple, I'm sure it can do all of that. It can access all of that. Just, it accesses AI. So, from another brother in Christ on his video, I think it was Soldier of God, he showed Jordan Peterson interviewing Elon Musk. And in it, he starts really laughing about a place he has called Memphis. Memphis is the old name of, is Egypt the first civilization? And if you can call it modern times, because we don't know about other ages before that. And so they worship the devil, and all the stories begin from Egypt. Memphis. So he's building this in Memphis. Look what's going on here. I found this astounding. Let's listen.
Sometimes the most shocking corporate misconduct is hidden in plain sight, invisible to the naked eye.
What is happening here will swallow our world if we don't stop it right here, right now.
Looking back, there was an early clue that the world's richest man was up to something here.
It's just like, why is Elon Musk coming to Memphis?
The people of Memphis soon found out.
Now Elon Musk is coming to Memphis to build the world's largest supercomputer.
A year later,
why is Elon Musk coming to Memphis?
The people of Memphis soon found out.
Now Elon Musk is coming to Memphis to build.
The people of Memphis soon found out.
Now Elon Musk is coming to
Memphis, the devil. What is he wearing there? The devil's suit. You think that's a coincidence? You think it's just a Halloween prank? It's not.
Memphis to build the world's largest supercomputer.
A year later,
we here because we mean business.
People here want answers.
It's the job of the health department to protect our lungs, and not once have they went to XAI to see that they had 35 gas turbines operating and polluting our air.
We went to Memphis and found an environmental crime scene. Musk's data center burning enough methane to power a small city with no permits and no pollution controls.
I have not seen anything like this. We believe they've already violated the Clean Air Act.
As Musk helps dismantle the very federal agency that's supposed to protect us against pollution like this.
There is no way to miss how this is a coordinated strategy.
What does Memphis reveal about the future Elon Musk wants for us all?
So the mission of XAI and Grok is to understand the universe.
In 2023, Musk founded XAI to produce and sell artificial intelligence.
We want to understand the nature of the universe so we can figure out where the aliens.
Even further to what I'm saying, what is X? This. What's this? Go look at Pharaoh. Go look at Pharaoh and their caskets, and you'll understand. Many connections.
What's the meaning of life? How does the universe end?
Its main product is Grok, an AI chatbot that he's incorporated into Twitter, or X. Musk was entering the race to dominate the AI market, but he was arriving late, years after competitors like OpenAI and Google had begun training their AI systems. So in Musk's mind, he had to move fast.
We went to the data center providers and said how long would it take to have 100,000 GPUs operating coherently in a single location, and we got timeframes from 18 to 24 months. So we're like, well, 18 to 24 months, that means losing is a certainty. So the only option was to do it ourselves.
Been waiting for this moment. I am pleased to announce that XAI's Gigafactory of Compute, the world's largest supercomputer, is to be located in Memphis, Tennessee.
Musk dubbed the project Colossus, after a movie about a supercomputer that becomes sentient and assumes total control of the world.
And so, my fellow human beings, we all directly and indirectly live in the shade, but not the shadow of Colossus.
I believe there was a computer, and you look at there, it's huge. It was like the size of a house in World War II, and it cracked the Enigma code. I believe it was called Colossus. It was a giant computer, just in case you didn't know. I may have that name wrong, but Colossus is a huge computer, but something to that effect. And so it all butterfly effects off of that.
When you think about the computational power that it will take to put humans on the surface of Mars, that's going to come from the Gigafactory of Compute that calls Memphis home. We were told that by the company. And so it required speed and power.
It's announced as a done deal.
Keyshawn Pearson grew up in South Memphis.
A billionaire and his organization is coming to our city, and we're just finding out after the land has been purchased, after the project has been approved by certain officials, right, who did know.
This is huge. This puts the word out there that Memphis understands operating at the speed of business.
As a community, we're trying to reach out to people and understand what is XAI. He built it without us even knowing that it was being built.
We had to watch this over X or Twitter. Brent Mayo, Elon Musk would tweet often about where they were in the...
Do you think that these billionaires, this is why we are at the Tower of Babel? Do you think these people who are in power, who have... Go look at Congress. Go look at the list of people in Congress and the Senate, and there is a list, and it will give you how much each one of them makes. I would say half of them have at least $10 million. The people in power, because a lot of people are paid off, okay? That's just a fact. It is a fact. Go look at Joe Biden. Go look at what's her name? Forgetting her name offhand. The old lady there. Can't think of her right now. Do you think these people are on our side? Do you think they care about our well-being? What is their end goal? To help us? Or to kill us? AI is going to very quickly take us to a spot where people are going to lose their jobs. It's not some dream anymore. It's actually a nightmare. So they don't care if they pollute. Just look at Elon Musk's other company. Tesla. So you have children mining in other countries for lithium, making probably pennies a day. Why is it that all the rich are the ones in power now? It reminds me of the way God talks to in the Old Testament. The way he talks in the Old Testament, that he showed both, I think, Ezekiel and Jeremiah, that they were rotten to their core, right? And what happens when your society gets rotten to the core? I believe God is going to come down. Because, and this is a question of what they say, genocide by God in the Bible. God is love, but God also understands when people become rotten to their core, they're cut down and put into the fire and burned. That's what it says. People become so bad and so lustful for money. And when you reach 1 billion, I'm not saying this is all of them, but the majority of them, it's a game. And they become untouchable. So what can you do? How can you change society? You can't, because they're paid off. They're rotten to the core, and this world is going to be burned with fire, and the only thing that's going to stay are those who believe in Christ.
The progress, how fast things were moving.
To train an AI system, a data center requires an enormous amount of electricity. The question was, where would the power come from?
Most companies, when they come to the city of Memphis, they plug into our power grid. That's what you think would happen. Why would this be any different? Unfortunately, we learned, because it is a billionaire's corporation, it would be a lot different.
XAI made a deal with the local electric company for 150 megawatts of power and agreed to build a new substation to help meet that demand. But Musk's ambitious plans suggested he would need much more power than that, and fast. Soon, people started to notice some unusual structures outside the facility.
I drove out there, and the first thing I did was hear the turbines. You can smell it as well. Such a disturbingly unique smell.
From the road, Keyshawn and others could see a row of machines that are typically only used for remote or emergency operations. Mobile gas turbines.
I have never seen portable turbines used like this.
Patrick Anderson works on air quality cases for the Southern Environmental Law Center.
We know that these kinds of generators require air permits. And so right off the bat, we started filing records requests with the local Shelby County Health Department. Do you have an air permit application from XAI? And they came back and basically said, no, we have nothing to hand over. We also filed records requests with EPA to see what they had. They also did not have details on what is on the ground out there. Nobody from the regulatory side, the health department, the city, EPA, has told the public or us really one iota of what's actually operating out there.
To figure that out, Patrick and his team...
Isn't that crazy? Like we're living in this green agenda, and I just passed geology. Like I just took geology in my university. It was my, not this module, but my last module. And I learned a lot about this stuff. And it's very important. It makes me wonder how this is even possible. And this is why I'm playing this. In part, but because it's Memphis. You understand the symbology of Memphis, right? It was the capital of old ancient Egypt.
Team hired a photographer to capture the data center from above. The images revealed far more turbines than anyone knew about. 35.
I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely stunned. How do we not know about this?
According to XAI leadership, the turbines are not being used and are not connected.
Under pressure, XAI claimed it was using less than half of those turbines.
I've talked to the XAI leadership team. There are 35, but there are only 15 that are on. The other ones are stored on the site.
Well, first off, these are expensive. There's a turbine shortage nationally. You don't obtain these turbines and put them on site if you're not intending to operate them.
So Patrick and his team sent the photographer back out with a high-end thermal camera.
Smart.
What we saw is 33 of the 35 were very clearly operating.
The turbines were capable of generating about 420 megawatts of electricity, enough to power around 300,000 homes.
They've built a power plant out there. And they've done it overnight, no air pollution controls, quick and dirty, no permit.
I mean, what you've done with the cluster in Memphis is incredible. Just in a handful of weeks.
Any given thing can be sped up.
Yeah.
Like whatever speed is being done, it can be done faster.
This is the largest AI cluster in the world. This place is absolutely amazing.
Oh!
Superhuman. I mean, Elon is singular. Building a massive factory in the short time that was done, there's only one person in the world who could do that.
And this entire supercomputer
Who's that?
is built to power rocks.
We were given a tour at XAI, looking at the facility. Very impressive, very exciting for Memphis. Their commitment to the community is remarkable.
It's unique in my experience.
Joseph
Keep
Goffman
watching.
has worked on air pollution issues for decades. Until January, he ran the EPA office that regulates air quality.
Most companies that I've dealt with go to great lengths and spend a lot of money to make sure that the day they turn on their operations, they're also turning on their pollution control equipment. That's a given. For a company,
You see the importance then, right? They turned around. They didn't. I can't find the right words, man. They turn the other way. They don't care. Money? Probably. The agenda? Likely.
company to do this, it's treating the people who live there as if they don't count.
I like to open my windows early in the morning to breathe the fresh air, God's given air, not the air that man want to give us, but God.
Eastern Ox lives just over a mile from XAI.
I really wasn't getting the fresh air. I was getting that pollution that was mixed in with everything.
You know how you light your stove and that gas seeps with the little ticking noise? That's what it smelled like.
Alexis Humphreys grew up here, one street away from Easter.
I smelled it the first time. I was asleep. And it woke me up because I thought gas was seeping in the house, but come to find out, we come outside and all the neighbors was outside trying to figure out what's going on.
He was an ordinary dad, full of
Methane. These are the same people, types of people, who are saying, no methane, cut out the methane.
joy, full of jokes.
Last year, Alexis lost her grandfather, who struggled with a respiratory illness called chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD.
COPD is a breathing condition, but you don't get it unless you smoke cigarettes. And my granddad didn't smoke cigarettes, but every 3 weeks or so, my granddad was going to the hospital. He would have to get breathing treatments. I have asthma, bronchitis. My mom have just bronchitis, and now my granny has it.
You can't hardly breathe. It's just like your whole world is collapsing down on you. And it's frightening.
Easter and her husband have also developed COPD. What does it feel like?
Feel like you're fixing to die.
The area around XAI leads the state in emergency department visits for asthma. Memphis has one of the highest rates of toxic air releases of any American city, and many of its most polluting facilities are in this neighborhood.
Elon, what he did with Memphis is objectively somewhat dirty, but he's also doing it in an area where there's like a bigger natural gas plant right next door and like a wastewater treatment and a garbage dump nearby, right? And he's obviously made the world a lot more clean than that one data center.
In just 1 year, XAI has blown past existing polluters.
They're emitting somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 tons of NOx. I'm an air pollution guy, so I deal in those numbers all the time, and that's larger than anything else in Memphis.
Gas turbines like these release three main types of deadly pollution: nitrogen oxides, formaldehyde, and fine particulate matter. Nitrogen oxides combine with other pollutants to form ground-level ozone, which causes and worsens asthma and COPD. Formaldehyde causes cancer, and particulate matter, airborne soot, can pass through your lungs and into your bloodstream, causing heart disease.
We've shown up today because we've been to too many funerals. We've shown up today because we've cried too many tears. We've shown up here today because we're tired. And we have an expectation of the people that we elect and put into place. We expect them to do what is in our best interest.
There's no such thing anymore, is there?
Not Elon Musk. And what we're saying is that stops now.
In April, hundreds of...
Just think about this. It's horrible to think about your breathing, right? Being compromised. These people are angry, and I can understand why. Because as you can tell, I'm a breathless person. It's not cardiac, but dysphonia of my throat and my esophagus, lower esophageal sphincter. So I understand. I know what it's like to feel like you can't breathe. Not only that, but the Canadian wildfires, the smoke was coming across here for about, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 days. It will be back. It will be back. And 2023, you don't want to go out. I was out selling my candles door to door, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey man, I smell a campfire. I'm like, I like that smell. But that stuff is so bad, burning wood for your lungs. I understand. These people are angry, man, and rightfully so. Because what's happening here is this is illegal in the pollution world. We live in a time of evil, good, good, evil.
Hundreds of people came to a high school in South Memphis to talk about XAI.
Welcome to the new generation of environmental justice. Stop being a coward and say no to this permit today. Get a backbone, because in Memphis we don't bluff. Period.
In January, the company belatedly applied for a permit to operate 15 of its turbines for 5 years.
So you can only imagine that they've been waiting for this moment, and this is what they're going to get.
That's the first time that XAI has publicly addressed the community in any way.
I understand. People did not want to hear the statement, but again, XAI is committed to meeting the highest standard for emissions. XAI is going above and beyond the required emission control requirements. And to that, thank you very much for your time.
He immediately left after reading his script. It's extremely disrespectful.
It's time to start telling the truth. The truth is that XAI, who just ran up out of here, they have no controls that prevent air pollution or decrease air pollution in their factories. None. That's the truth. Power to the people.
They said they had a permit for 15, but yet they were running 32, did they say? There were 35 and they were running 32 or 33. And they could see it on the thermal camera, so that's not a lie. I just wanted to point that out. So there's a few things in that. Neuralink, it's all connected. Neuralink AI, this Memphis thing, the worship of the devil, and just the way billionaires are. How do I want to finish this off? Jesus Christ is coming soon. He is coming soon. So soon, it's gonna blow you away. I was looking at the news, just like the suggestions on YouTube, and when a video is finished, it also puts them up on the actual video. And out of maybe 20 of these little suggestions, man, they were all horrible, man. Protest wars, just bad things, nothing good. So we know the times and the seasons. So it's the people who are like, You know, when's it going to be? When's it going to be? Don't you find this interesting? And it's tough to see it, and it's tough to be in it. But when Jesus returns to the earth, will he find faith? Actually, I want to say this and then end the video. To know Jesus Christ and God the Father is to read the Old Testament, to learn who he really is. And he is love. And I understand that now. Like, I understand. There is one scripture. I'm forgetting the exact scripture, but it's in the Old Testament. And it says something like a burnt offering for the Lord. Do you know the part that I'm talking about? And it almost makes me want to cry hearing that. Because when I see that, I think the passage was about people are going their own way. I think it was like something like, yeah, they're just all gone down the wrong road. And they're worshiping devils and doing all this type of stuff. But no one ever considers that God just wants to be loved. And you do that through worship and talking to him. Think about it. He's love. But he has to destroy evil. He has to do it. He'll let it flourish, but then he'll destroy it. I hope you can reach that point where you realize that God loves you, like really loves you. You know, I suffer with trauma, okay? And so and my pain, holy, it makes it really, really hard to comprehend love. But I have love in me. I have empathy. I have those things. But they come and they go. But as time moves on, I recognize just how much we should worship God. And I understand people are like, worship. Why does he need to be worshipped? I was thinking about that. It's love. Who are we to question? And you just have to read the Old Testament to see how many times he tried to save us. Tried to save the Jews. Excuse me. He saved Gentiles too. He saved a lot of Gentiles. Well, enough, you know, like in times when he wasn't saving the Jews, he was saving Gentiles, like Naaman. What about the Samaritan woman? And so anyways, guys, I don't have much more to say. There's so much that fills our days, isn't there, with news, but don't let it overtake you. I think Christ would want us to see it as a good sign. God bless.